Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on today's session. Today's session is part of a series on different technologies led by Azure MIA, Azure leaders across the MIA region, where we are hosting them every week for a while, talking about the different technologies and what's happening in the space, giving us insights and and access to all what is happening. And then in this series, we have been talking recently about Blazor apps and we've been talking about how we can integrate web APIs in part one. And then now we're looking at developing a fully functional, dynamic, interactive, and responsive web applications performing CRUD, which are create, read, update, and delete. In this session, we are continuing this journey. I'm sure you know me by now. I'm just going to skip this part. We are continuing to host Anwar, who is the manager for IT application and support at Boubyan Bank in Kuwait, who is working on a daily basis interacting with application developers and software vendors around the globe. He's a renowned speaker in regional conferences and techno-social gatherings. So we're continuing this journey based on the feedback and the requests that you have been providing us on the topics that you would love to learn more about. A quick one before we begin. As you know, we're all here to learn, so let's keep this environment friendly for everyone and welcome all viewpoints and questions, and be welcoming and respectful at all time. That's in a brief what we're here to learn and create this environment of learning for everyone. There is a check-in page. I already shared the link with you in the chat. This is where you can get access to today's session learning resources and also access the survey. This is how you can send topics and ideas and feedback also about today's session and about topics that you would love to see at the reactors. I'm also monitoring the chat. I'll be here throughout in the background. So feel free to ask questions during the session, and towards the end, if you prefer to go and turn on the mic, just let me know. I can enable that feature for you, but that will not be during the presentation. During the presentation and demo and the coding, etc., we'll be just looking at the chat. So take advantage of that. I think that's pretty much it. I would love to hand over the mic to Anwar to start today's presentation, and we continue this journey learning about Blazor CRUD applications.
Thank you, Hussam, and thanks everyone who has joined. Today we will be continuing our series, the second part of the series regarding developing a CRUD application by using Blazor WebAssembly. So this is the second part and the final part in this series. Today's agenda, we'll just quickly go through the agenda slide. I'll share my screen. Okay. You're able to view my screen, right?
Yes, Anwar, all good.
Yes, okay. And the voice is also fine, right?
All perfect, crystal clear.
Okay. Hussam has already introduced, and I don't want to repeat that again. And this is, not the first or second session now for Reactor MEA. This is maybe, I think, fifth time I'm doing the presentation, and we were having different, topics. Today's topic is the second part of the series, developing a CRUD application by using Blazor WebAssembly. Today's agenda is we will just recap what we have done in the part one session last week. I mean 2 weeks back, and we will check, just quickly test the API which we had created in the last session. And today we will create the expense entries listing page, and we will create another page to insert an entry, and another page to edit the entry, and another page to delete the entry. So this is what we are going to do today. Based on the time, we hope inshallah we will have enough time to complete all this. So as the first step, we'll just go through what we have done in the last session. We created the project with proper options selected, and we created the classes required for for the database and models. Then we created the data context. Once we create the classes and use them in the data context, and once we completed the data context creation, we did the DB migration. We were using a code first approach. So we created the class, and by using the DB migration, .NET, it created the tables within the database. And we have done an update in the class, and that update also reflected in the database. That also we have done and seen. And we have created the controllers, and we will just start by looking into what we have created, the controllers, and we'll just quickly test and start. So this is what we are going to do. So let's jump into the part 2. Okay, I'll share the other screen. Okay, this is the project we had done. We created the project. We create the solution actually by having 3 projects: the server and the client one and the shared one. The shared one is having the classes, the category, expense category, and expense entry classes. Then we created, we have the server part. In the server, we have the controllers. 2 controllers we created. This is the by default controller, general one. We created a category, expense category controller and expense entry controllers. And we have the client. We haven't done much on the client part. So first, before we start doing the client page development and the design, we'll just quickly test our, the controller or web API which we have created in the last session. So as all of you know, the server part, the server project is for hosting the API. This is a web API project. And at the same time, it is hosting the WebAssembly, and it is providing or distributing the WebAssembly from there. But when it reaches to the browser, the WebAssembly itself is an entirely separate project, and it runs itself on the browser. So that is the client project, and this is the shared one. Now we have 2 controllers, as we mentioned. The category controller. The category we have the list. So just quickly test the controller is working fine. We will try the the get part without any ID. So it will list whatever is there. I have made some sample entries into the database manually. So it will just list those entries available in the database. Okay, the application is started. I will use this link. The routing is like this: API and reactor category. This is the controller name, reactor expense category. So once we give this, it will give in the browser, because we are using a get REST API call. So it gives all the available entries for the category. So I just put, if I put the specific ID, let's say, then it give me that entry exclusively separately. So category 1 is working. At the same time, let's try the other one. Okay, this is the category, and entry controller also we have that. This is the link for it. I just commented it for copying and put it there to copy easily and trying it. Okay. Here we have, sorry, We were trying this. Okay, instead of there, we will try this. Okay, this is listing the entries which we have as sample entries in the database. Here also, I had some sample entries. Whenever this is not found, okay, maybe I think the ID I gave is wrong. Okay, it got the 10004 entry. It gave us back. So our APIs are working whenever we run the solution. Whenever we run the server application, the APIs are ready to accept any calls from the client application. Now let's go to the client part and let's start from from there. Now in the client part, this is the WebAssembly project. Here we have, let's first do one thing. Let's start in the nav menu. We can add a navigation link to our, let's say 2 pages we may need. One for creating the expense entry, another one for listing the expense entry. From the listings, we can go to edit and delete. So let's say create. Or add, let's put add. Add expense and let's say list expenses. List expenses. Here we have to give the, okay, I'll put add expense and list expenses. Okay, we have to use the same thing in the page routing header. We will make sure that we use that. So we have the menu available. We just created the menu, necessary menus. Now we have to create the required pages for that. First, we will create the page for listing the entries. So, okay, for that we will create the adding part first maybe. Okay, let's create add. In the pages, I go to the pages and I add and razor component. I'll just name the component as like, add expenses. This is the place where we have to, regardless of what name you gave for the page, the file, the razor file, you have to mention the routing on the on the top. It should have a routing tag. So let's say page add expense. I think this is the same I had given. Okay, we have given that, and we have to use using now this is the title. What we have to do? Okay, we need to have a form kind of thing, an interface to enter the details and save it. So for that we will use like a form, so that you will have a form appearance for your for your entries, and we will use a div called with the class of row. We will use row, okay. And within the row we will have a column. So otherwise what will happen, our interface and our controls will be spread all over the page. So we don't want to do that. We just want to have a clean interface. This is just the primary designing only I'm doing. We can beautify it and make it better and better by spending more and more time. We are not going into that level now. So the next div will be for the column. The class will be for core MD8. Now let's put 4. That's enough. Okay. Now here, the next one, we will put another div for the, we want to make a group of we will have a label and we will have an input box. For example, we have a label for the date. We have input for the date. We have a label for the details or description of the entry, and we should have a a text input control for that. So we will first create a group, control group, with the class form group. Now we will create the control. So we need two controls within the group, one label and one control. So we will put label, say we will see ID. ID will be 0, but just let's put it there and for us to see when we edit. For the controls, we'll use the form control. Okay, and here it comes the Blazor bindings. It's a two-way binding, so we will bind the value into the object's parameters. So that we will come back. We will create the object and then we will come back. Okay, before that, let's do that, then we will continue. We need to have a expense entry object. Then we will bind our parameters into that object and we will use that object to post to the database. So let's say okay, expense entry, let's say X entry. I am using expense entry. Now we have this. So we have we have to bind our text input. The bind value, it should be to next entry dot, let's say ID. Similarly, we have okay, here this one we will make read only. Okay, this is for ID. After the ID, we need the, let's say, the category name. So we will put category, or let's put date. Okay, and then another one for description. Okay, another one for category. Here there is a difference. We have to use a different one. Okay, we will come back to that. Before that, we have to use amount. Here we have okay. This one category name. We will not use input. We have to use select here. So this one will be a select. Select like combo box, we know, right? For that we will use, it's an HTML object, so we will use that one, and we will bind the value to expense dot get expense category. Okay. We are not binding and using the sub objects because, for that we cannot use the select object. We will have to use third-party controls, or a little bit more in-depth coding is required to handle that object within a selection option. So we are not going into that. We are just using the category name. We are not linking the object with the parent object. We are just using the text as the category name. Okay, here we have the select. Under that we have to use options. So for this one, what we have to do here, now we need for the option, like for the user to select the categories, we need to have a list of categories. So let's first declare that. Okay. It's a single object and we need a list of objects also. Okay, so once we have the list of objects, what we say, as we have mentioned before, we can put our Razor code, within the HTML tags. So here we will put, at the end, then we will put for each, okay, sorry. Next, the categories, our list of objects. We will put the value, option value here. Option, and value is the one which we mentioned. It's category dot category name, and we'll use same as the text of that also. Okay. Now we have that the compo box ready, and so all the input entry is also ready. So we have the ID field. It is read only. We will not use it, and we have this the date and description and amount, and we have the category option selection. So that's what we have done. We have completed that. Now we will create just a new, we will create a button to put the save button. This we will just put button. We will put type is button, and we will the class of the button is like, let's put let's say btn, let's put primary. Okay, so we have the interface. Before we load the options, we'll just quickly see whether we will be able to see how the interface is, if there is anything we have to change or something. So let's quickly run it. We have given the nav or navigation, right? Expenses and add expense. Okay, let's try to go to the application. Let's try to run the application and see. Okay, let's say add expenses. So this is our interface. We have ID, date. Oh, okay, we copied it and we didn't remove the read only for other fields. So we have to remove that. Then once there, this is, we will have this option. Okay, then we have a save button also. So the interface, the primary, we didn't touch into the look and feel and all. We will not do it on this session, but it's doable. It's very easy. It's like just HTML and CSS. Okay, great. So we have the, okay, before that we have the options. Sorry. Okay, here, category. Okay. Now we have to have the values inside the combo box or selection button. For that, we will use the override. We will override the the uninitialized async what we will just try. Okay. We will use the uninitialized async version and okay. Here we have to get the list of categories and load into the X category list of objects. Then it will be available here when it runs, when it renders the page. So for that, we will use first an HTTP client. Let's say CLNT equal to new HTTP client. In this one, we will use, for that, we are going to call the API now. So to call the API, we have the list of objects. So we will use this. Okay. And we will use get as JSON. So get from JSON as async, and it's a typed one. So we have to give the, let's say, list of here we have to give the URL. So we'll just copy our URL from the expense category controller. We are going to use this one plus our we need to see what we are not hosting our solution into the cloud or as Azure and all. We are not using doing those part. We are trying now. Everything is running locally, but it's the same. Like we just have to host it somewhere, and we can use that URL if it is an Azure or if it is any other web server. We can just use that one. So we have to use this part also in the URL because this is the hosting base URL. So we have the full URL for the API. So this will call the. I'm not putting the try and catch and all. We have to do that actually, but those kind of details and enhancements is not in the scope of the demo. We only have 1 hour, so we have to complete all those things. So that's why we are going quickly, showing exactly what we need to do the primary tasks. Okay, so when we start when the system render the page, it will go and get the list of categories and get it into this list of objects. And for each entry into that list of objects, it will be using as an option in the select. Hopefully, let's see whether it works or not. We have an error. Okay, just a minute. Oh. Maybe. Yeah. we have the, I have put some sample in the database. I told you. I put it like rent, grocery, dine out, and fuel. This one I added manually, so that's, and I have added 2 sample entries as as the expense entry also. So it is taking those and bringing into the category drop down. We have to make sure it has the same class. That's why it is showing in a different way. But okay, we'll use that for class. That's why it is not showing in the same way or proper way. So we have to just use that. Here we have to use the same class. Form control, and we have to remove the read only from here. Okay, the interface is ready. Now we have the interface, we have the object, and it is bound to this object expense entry. Now what we have to do is when we press this button, we have to save it. So let's create like okay. Okay, I just created by just the name, save the entry. You can give any name, but okay. Now when we have the object bound with the parameters, so we'll just use that object to post the entry into the database. So for that, we need the HTTP client. Okay, we have the HTTP client here. Now for that, the post entry, the response will be a HTTP response type. So we have to have an HTTP response object also. Response message actually. We will do, this is the okay, and here we will use post as JSON, and we are using the object, the value is with the form of the expense entry. So expense entry, and we have to give the URL. Okay, and we have to give the object also. The object will be our expense entry object. For this, the URL will be not that one. We will have the entry controller, and the post object is the same like here. For example, we can use this one because the post also will have the same. Only the difference is like we are calling a get call or post call. Based on that, it will handle based on that tag accordingly. It will be routed to the correct. Just we'll go here and we will update that. Okay, sorry, here. Here we are giving the post URL and the object for having the entries or parameters. We are having the object entry. Again, we are not putting the try catch an error and all. This one will be a detailed part. So when we press, that has to go. Here we can do one thing. We can just check the response HTTP response message, and if it is fine, it will have the true value for the. I'll show you. Yeah, success score. We will do one thing. We will put here. We will put a status label. Before that, we should have a string of parameter variable. So we will have a string let's say RSLT string. Okay. Please enter the values and press save. Okay. Here, okay. One more thing, we will do one thing. We will have a string style str is equal to, we will do to style the the result one. If it is an error, we have to make it red. If it is success, we will make it green. If it is normal, like a default message, it will be blue. So let's say color blue. This is an HTML and CSS details. Here we will have the label. We will mention all the. We will link those things here. Let's say style. We'll use the style string. Okay, and for okay, the text we will use the result string. Okay. Now here, if it is success, we will put the result string is equal to entry added successfully. If it is not, we will put if it is not, we will put errors occurred, and we will see what is there in the response message. So we will try to response, then content and read as string async. Okay, maybe we'll put a next line. Environment dot new line. Okay. Okay, there we go. So if it is success, it will show this one. Okay, here we have to give the style string is equal to color green. Okay, and here we have to give it's red. There you go. So here let's see how it goes. Before that, we will post. Before we post, we have to mention the because the ID will be 0. Let's try. I'm not copying anything because when I write, you will be with me, so it is more hands-on and you can follow in detail. So we'll put today's date. I'm not using a date control, just for the time being we'll use today's date as like this. Always use DDMMYY, so there will not be any conversion issues. My first it is like I just put 10. We have to have the currency if we want. Let's say dynamically. Let's try to save. Don't know what happens. Nothing happens. Why? Because we haven't linked that button into this. We have to do that, and only when we put the button. Okay, one click. One click. How this? There you go. What's the time? Okay, we have to move a little bit faster. Okay, 20. Let's say 6. 2. Let's say 11 carry this time. Let's put it for right now. Let's see what happened. Still not going. Okay, this time it goes. It's 2. You know what happened? Because we have to put, okay, we have to put here, once we have an update, we have to force the system to re-render the page. So state has changed. Okay. We may have the same entry with the same text and error multiple times, maybe. We will see now. Let's quickly see the database. Let's see. Yeah, we have 2 times that one. Okay, that's fine. No issues. To avoid confusion, we will delete from there. Okay, now we have added that. We may add this another one. Let's see. Okay, so we have it here, and the color also changed according to the style string. Okay, done. We are done with the entry part. Now quickly we will do the listing. Then editing and deleting is pretty quick. It will be fast. We need to have a page for listing the entries. So let's say razor component for let's say list expenses. Okay, in this one we will have the list expenses. For that we will copy from here. Okay, we will put it here. Done. Cool. And we will put a use in. So we will have the here. Now what we need, we will do quickly. We will do the same thing what we had done here. We need these entries, and we need the entries also. So we'll put this one, and we need the list of entries. So that's what we are saying. So list of not category, we will put the list of entry entries. And, we have the list of entries, and so in the same way we will do in the initial this one here. when the page loads, it get initialized. At that time, we want to call the list of expenses. So expense entries is like, we will do list of expense entry, and we have to give here the entry controller and this one. It is the expense entry get link. We are calling that get link, and we are serializing those results from JSON into the list of expense entry objects, and that is going to be populated here. And we have now this object populated with the list of expense entries available in the database. So what we are going to do with that, we need a table. We can display those entry in that tabular manner. Let's say table class. Okay, we have the table now. Now table head. Yeah. Table head. We need table row. Okay. So row, we need the table header. Okay, so here in the header, first we will do date. Okay, another one we need the date, description, category, and amount. I think this is enough. For the time being, that is enough. Okay, that's what we have. So this is the header. Now we need a body for the table. The body we will give. Okay, here we have to iterate with the entries in the list of objects. So again, for each, expense entry will be that one, right? So expense entry, entry. I'll put an additional y. Entries. Okay, here for each entry we will do the table row. And here we will put dot entry date, right? Entry date. The first one is date. Okay, we will to string Yeah, I hope it works. Let's see. Okay, let's leave it. Let's see the date in its own manner. This one, we don't have time for that. Okay, now the second one. Okay, the second one is description. So this one. Okay. The third one is category. And the last one is amount. Expense amount. Okay. So we will have that, and it should be fine, it seems. Yeah. Let's see. There you go. So we have the list. It is spread all over the page. So maybe we can reduce it by giving, the one which we gave last time. We will do that later. We don't have. We'll just quickly do the edit and delete first. Okay. So now we have the date. We have the description, all the details. Now what we have to do? We have to have an edit option and we have to have a delete option. Now the retrieval part, the get part we have shown. We have the list available and we did the category for also. For the category also we did the get part and we did the create part. Now we have to do the update and delete. We'll do that quickly and we will finish it off. For that we need an additional column for having our link to edit and delete. So I will do one thing. We will have okay. Okay, we will have here we will have E. Okay, here we will have the href. Okay, into the edit and delete page. So we will give that. Before that, edit. Okay, similar way, and we will give this one here another one. For that links, we need to create two pages. So we'll create two Razor components. One is edit and another one delete expense entry. This one will have page entry. Okay, we will give edit entry. And another one we will give delete entry. This is the edit entry. This one we have to make delete entry. Here we need to have the ID of the entry. So for that we will put this one a parameter and entry ID. So here for that we need to have that parameter passed. So we will put that parameter tag and we will say like string. We'll use this one. And get and set. That's ready. Okay, so that's ready. Here same way we will put this on here. Okay, same one parameter. What happened? Okay. As it is a passing parameter, it should be public. Okay, there you go. And here what we will use this way. This one in the list, in the, we are having the, okay, here we will use this. What happened to the formatting? We have to close it and open because we ran it. Okay, list expense entry. Okay, let's see why it is not showing. Okay, here, and we will put okay. No, entry. But okay, good. This is to the delete entry page. Okay. Here we have to have the delete entry. Okay. Okay. Let's try this, whether it is listing and showing it or not. Okay, list expenses. No error till now. It is loading, and we have the edit and delete links. Okay, if I edit, see it goes this one into that page with the ID we selected. So in that case, what we have the ID here. It is the ID of what I selected. So we are reaching into the edit page or delete page, whatever, with the ID in as a parameter. So we can just get that ID and get that object, either edit it or delete it. Then we are done. Before that, we will just make this one, instead of that normal link, let's put this one in the class. Okay, button. This is what edit, so success. The delete one we will put as danger. Okay, let's try this quickly. Okay, we have the button, and edit and delete. We can make it more perfect. And so instead of that, if we give button and btn this one, it will be more bigger, and we'll see do that later. So we have that one. Now we'll quickly create the edit and delete pages. So we have the page. For that, first we have to display the item, then they can either edit or delete it. So for displaying the item, we will copy it from our add part. So the interface we will copy. For example, we will put it from here to this into the, let's say, edit page. Edit page. Here we will. Okay, we have the form, and we have the expense entry part also. Okay, we need that also. We can take from there fast. We have it here. Okay. Now for for this, we will here for editing. Okay, again, editing this one. We need the category. Okay, why? What is the issue? Because we didn't put the UC. Okay. Okay, we have that list. It will be shown here, and it will be saved. Edit. Let's say save the edit. Okay. Here the button, we need to have the same part we need to do. In the initialization, we need the categories, and we'll put that, and even the saving also we will put. So it will be faster. Okay. In the initialize option, it will be fetching the categories and populating this selection, and at the same time when we provide the entry, it will be updating that one. Now here save the edit, the name. Okay, we will change it. Save, instead of save the entry, we'll put save the edit. Let's see. Okay, here we are fetching the categories in the beginning, and we have to fetch the expense entry object also. So for that we have the ID we have. So let's do one thing. Expense entry equal to okay, and we have to get the category, not category, expense entry link. For that one also add expenses. We have plus we need the expense entry which is being passed dot ID. Okay, here we go. So we are getting that expense entry into this object. So now you have to get this. This is the one which we getting passed. Sorry. Okay, by using the parameter, and we are getting the object and putting into the expense entry, that will be loaded here. So we just have to push the system to re-render. See, the state has changed. Good statement. Anyway, so the state has changed, and it will reload or re-render the page. Then we will have the data there. Once we make necessary changes, we have to save it. So for saving, we should use post, not post. We have to put the put actually. Put, and yeah, the same. Now, okay, we have to, let me see how our put in our server. This one, controllers, expense entry controller. We have the get and post and put with an ID. So we have to provide the ID also. So we have the ID. No, we have here plus entry.id. Okay, here once it is updated, we will see edit instead of added. We will see edited successfully. Green, otherwise errors occurred, and do this. Okay, and this response string also, it is there. Okay, here we will change, please update the values to edit. Okay, So this is for edit entry. We will try this one first, then we will see how it goes. Okay, already we passed 1 hour, so we will just quickly do the same thing for delete, then it will be done. You have the list expenses page. Okay, here we'll put the edit one. We have the options here. The object is loaded. We have the data editor. Okay, instead of 25, I put 35. Okay, and I saved it. Entry is edited successfully. Now, if we go to the links editor, instead of 25, it is 35. The same thing we have to do in the delete. Let's do that and finish. Here in the list page, and list expenses here, the class. Okay, now we will do this one, edit page, copy it into the into the delete also. Okay, so here we have that, and we instead of save the delete. I'm just giving some weird names for the save the. And put this one instead of primary, I'll put into danger. Okay. Here is press delete one. And it loads that one, it loads the object, and it displays the object. And if the user clicks on delete, it comes here and it calls the, instead of put, we have to call the delete. We have to call the delete async. There is no, it's not a not a type one. It's like, okay. We have to give the entry ID. That's all. This is how it is structured, the delete. See, if you go and see, you have to provide the ID. It takes the ID and load the object, and it is removing it. If it finds, it removes that entry and save the changes. Otherwise, it returns a not found. So in the delete, we have to put the delete async, and we provide the ID also here. Okay, done. That's all. Entry, not entry, delete, deleted successfully. Here it will be green for the success. Even it is a delete option, it is success, so we'll show green. Otherwise, it will show red. Great. So let's try that also. The last one. List expenses. We have the list, and we have the delete entry. I'm deleting this. It goes to the page. It brings. Please press delete if you want to delete. Okay, we'll delete this. The entry deleted successfully. Let's go back and see it is deleted. And let's delete this. Entry this one delete. Entry deleted successfully. Entry is deleted. the entry is deleted. Okay, we have done all the create, update, delete, and listing, getting the list retrieve option. So here we are completing the total CRUD operation for from a Blazor WebAssembly application by using a solution hosted on the server for the web API. The first part we created the web API, second part we created the user interface to call them, and this one, as I told you, it is like spread all over the page. We can, if we use a column object, call tag, and by using that one, the width we need, we can customize it and make it more beautiful and looking good, better look and feel. We are not going into that details. That is pure HTML and CSS that most of the people they know, and it's very easy, and so many documentation is available. So here Blazor brings you to utilize your HTML and CSS skills plus your C# skills to create an entirely fully operational, interactive, responsive also. If we have multiple columns, it will adjust, when you open it in the mobile, it will adjust into side by side or top and down and like that. Otherwise it will adjust into the row and it will show sidewise. So that is a responsive and interactive and quickly and near, let's say, if it's the performance of the .NET Core is also will help your application to render the pages, to provide a quick and responsive and interactive application to the users. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anwar, for today's session and for this journey with creating Blazor CRUD applications. We look forward to having more topics in the future as we're working on this together. Meanwhile, if any of the community members has a question or prefer to go and speak, let me know in the chat. We'll spare a few minutes for that. I'm gonna start presenting my screen again to just highlight some of the key links and resources for any of the members to continue after today's session, whether by signing up to the newsletter or joining the YouTube channel. So as usual, everything we're doing is recorded and it will be available on our YouTube channel at the earliest. So make sure you're subscribed so that you can watch this again along with other sessions. And I also shared, by the way, the earlier session in the chat, part 1. So if you wanna look at that again, that is also available on YouTube. I think the screen is up. Yeah. We got thank yous for the presentation, for valuable insight. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Awesome. All right. Thank you everyone for attending, and thank you, Anwar, for sharing your expertise as usual with our exactly. We catch you next time. Stay safe, everyone. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.